All right, guys, we're talking about motivations. This is really building on what we will have done in class by the time you watch this video, what we're doing in class tomorrow when I'm recording it, about why are you in this industry, why are you doing what you do, and why do you want to create a show? So we're going to dive a lot more into creating a show. So to recap, one of the things we're going to talk about in class is our overall motivations as Christians for creating art. One of the most common things suggested of why we do this is making the invisible visible. We look at Christ's relationship with us through becoming the Word made flesh, becoming God incarnate, that he became visible to show us what is invisible and what is real and true and tangible. Even if we can't see it, we know it is real. And we as artists can speak to the soul in a way that can't always happen. One of my favorite sayings is, if you want to tell somebody what's wrong with them today, make it 100 years in the future on Mars. When we have that separation, there is so much we can say. All right, so we talked about this in class some, so I'm not sure how much we'll have covered before you see this video, but when you're creating your own animated or live action TV show or film, you've got to really understand what's coming. You won't ever know everything that is coming, but some of the ones that are coming, because there are so many challenges that lay ahead. If you think it is going to be a smooth path, it's not. One of the things that you can know with certainty is challenges are coming, whatever they are. So when you create a show or a movie, it can't just be a check the box, this is something I'm going to do because I think it's going to make me lots of money and it's going to be great and I don't really care. No. You've got to be passion driven about what you are making, and that this is the only thing you can do to really be fulfilling God's call in your life, or else the odds that you're going to endure are just so low. So if you are in this to really create something new and original, you're going to have a lot to push through. So having clear motivations is super important. Writing these down is so important to remembering why you're doing this in the first place. I still look back at some of the papers I wrote about my motivations back when I was an undergrad to keep motivated today of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Have clear, tangible, written motivations so that you can remind yourself in the hard times. Now, the rewards are great if things are successful and work out, right? You get both the emotional benefits, the financial benefits, and just the feeling of accomplishment of creating something. But there are a lot of challenges and stress along the way. You will be challenged, you will get stressed out, your relationships will be strained, and you will have a lot of doubt along the way. So those clear motivations are so important. That's why we're spending this first really week and a half of class, almost 2 weeks of class, on motivations. All right, so let's talk about a few of the wrong types of motivations. And if this is why you're here, I would highly encourage you to reconsider. If you're looking for fame through your work, there are a lot of other avenues where it's a whole lot more likely to happen. Trying to get fame as an animator or filmmaker, it's tough. Very few actually get there, and if you do, it's probably short-lived. And if your focus is on getting to fame and you're operating for your ego, it can totally shut down and kill the creative workflow, which leads to idolizing your own projects and thinking whatever you say, it's got to be the best thing, which leads to really, really, really bad creativity and poor leadership and team management. Another really bad one that is so common is money. I love my spreadsheets. I love looking at how this can work and this can work, and you have to for a business plan. But if you're doing the show only with the goal of making money, you are so open to manipulation, humiliation, degradation, all in that pursuit of money. You also get unrealistic expectations for what money can do. If I just make this money, it's going to lead to here, this is going to be great, I'm going to get this house, it's going to be awesome. And that gets to envy, sadness, disillusionment. Now, that all said, I'm not saying do that very, very dangerous path of, oh, if I'm just doing what I love, I don't need to get paid. You need to be supported in doing what you love if this is your career. I am not saying do not look for a career and making a show where you will be able to pay your bills. You should be paid fairly for the work you're going to do. If you're going to go into it, though, worrying about whether you're making a lot of money or not, you shouldn't do it. Art is a very difficult career, but the rewards outweigh the monetary benefit. Do the work that inspires you. Make sure you're not being taken advantage of while you do it. And eventually the money will flow. If you're doing the art that you are passionate about and to excellence and following the kind of things that we're teaching you here at Regent, hopefully the money will follow. Or if this is not your career path but a hobby, it will be made clear to you. Keep discerning. Keep looking at your motivations and what God is telling you. Another bad one is power. Guys, this is so collaborative. What we do is collaborative. The person at the top, the producers, need to be looking at really servant leadership and putting the cast and crew before him or herself. If you've got this big ego and you just want to get all the credit, this is a lonely ride and it is not worth it. Absentee creators, why are you doing this? The crew needs vision, the production needs direction. You need to be there, present, not looking at just creating something that gets you a paycheck. Go make stock footage if that's what you want. Don't try to create a show. So focus on your strengths and learn along the way and try to build lasting work collaborations and friendships. Someone brought this up the first week of class. We don't intermingle between animations and cinema television students so that somebody can be basically taken advantage of for what they can do. We do this because we collaborate better together and build friendships and work relationships that lead for everyone succeeding. All right, so a little bit of a reality check on creating a series, if we haven't already been real enough. You will be challenged. There will be so many hurdles. You may go in with the best pitch, Bible, deck, business plan, marketing plan, everything ready to go. You're still going to hit lots of challenges. So you have to look at them as hurdles. Each one you got to jump over and keep moving. The long hours, it can consume all of your available time. So you've got to have that reality check. This is not a quick path. It's going to test your limits and especially your relationships. If you are married or have kids, you need to have real conversations and real thought about where is your vocational responsibility and where is your avocational responsibility to creating a series. What are the things that you have obligations to parents or siblings or others? Make sure that you're communicating with people. It's going to test your relationships. Now, you may have to let go of your project at some point. This makes people struggle so many times that I've seen, that you reach a point where you've poured all your efforts into this show that you've created, and there's a point where your best choice is letting go and relinquishing ownership of your work with a legal buyout and moving it on to somebody else. It's tough. There's also the risk that all you're doing may never make a dime. Royalty money may never show up. You may never reach anyone who wants to buy it. All of this work may have just been an exercise. It doesn't mean it's wasted, but this particular show may never take off. It could get canceled at any time or any stage in the process. You do not know when the brakes will get put on, either because of a studio head, an executive producer, or your life situation. If you're self-funding this, you've got to be aware it may get stopped, and that has to not destroy your world, because our world is based on Christ and our faith, not on a show. So it's a balancing act. You've got to prioritize your show and what you're working on so that it gets the honor and attention it deserves and the work it needs, but not put so much into it that you'll be devastated if it stops. Now, all of that said, here are some reasons to move forward in creating a show. And I use show as a series, a season, a movie. A show is kind of that coin term for the big project. All right, so if you thrive in sharing your vision in a hectic environment, if that's where your talents really reside, this is great for you. If you care about making a positive impact in society, for whatever that segment of society is that you can affect through your media creation, good reason to create a show. If you have these characters that just are welling up in you, characters or a story to share, especially ones that are based on personal experiences that you just have to share. That's why we're doing this whole menu exercise for you to personally examine what are some of the things that are important to you as you look at series building. If you have those ones that are just boiling up that you have to share about, good reason to move forward. If you are just a storyteller by nature and the best fit for your artistic inclination is expression through this show, be it animation or whatever else, stick with it. If you love collaboration with other artists and you like that atmosphere, good direction. If making a show is a stepping stone to something else you're working on, another goal like creating an independent film later, or creating a studio and you know you need the experience of making a show, and maybe this show is a few $1 million show or a $10,000 show, but you have plans for a $100 million show. This is a stepping stone and you have a reason to work on it. If you have an entrepreneurial spirit, especially if what you want to do is create a better work environment, somewhere where people look forward to coming work, and you want to impact things in a positive way, and you want to do the business things, go out and pitch your show and be looking at not just the artistry, but the business end, great reason. And if you have a burning desire to share your world view, especially with an audience who can relate or to evangelize the world through media, great reason to stick with this. All right, other right motivations. So these were, go back here. Can't go back as I'm recording. All right, well, the right motivations, something that you can support a cause you can believe in. If it is a show that really rings true to your heart. My husband and I are working on something right now that is a real passion project for us, that we have a substantial goal that we are trying to achieve. And so we're working on that project. It's a long-term project. We probably won't shoot a frame of video for it for at least 3 years, but it's something we believe in. And it's something that we think will inspire and encourage others. Once you have one show that is successful, it can also get 2 other shows, right? And it can be a catalyst for change, both in what the people who see it and in the ethics of the media industry. And of course, if you're looking to make a show that can entertain, make people laugh, cry, feel, and it has morals and integrity well promoted in it, good reason to move forward. Now, this is a list really focused on an animation show development of some of the skills that go in. Now, they really do overlap into all film and television of things that you may need, and any of these will help you. So these are things to think about. Do I have some of these skills? Or are these skills I want to develop more, right? So an ability to draw well. Even if you are not in animation, a writer who can sketch will have advantage over writers who can't draw at all, so that you can communicate your ideas. Same thing for directors. If you can draw out a rough storyboard, you're in a better place. If you have a talent for creative writing and you love to read and learn more about writing, and I don't just mean script writing, I mean the great works, Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, Ernest Hemingway, deep thinkers. Right now, I'm reading Peter Kreeft with my kids before bed and diving into philosophy. This is just as important for me as it is for them. Animation workflow, part of why you're taking this class. You need to know both how to animate a character and general knowledge of the animation workflow. If you're putting forward an unrealistic timeline because you don't know the workflow, it's going to make your show preparation and development fall flat. Likewise, general knowledge of storytelling, actors, audience-focused storytelling, theater arts, that kind of skill set is incredibly important. Filmmaking, I have worked with some animators in the past who really had no concept of shots and different camera angles and how lighting interplays with storytelling. So their storyboards didn't have all of the technical information, and they struggled to really do anything but mid-shot, 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 wide shot. So having a good knowledge of filmmaking. And of course, you're going to be directing actors if you are the director who is directing actors for voice. And of course, a lot of motion capture and other things now use real people to work on them. Music, art, acting, all of this stuff interplays. Then, of course, you have the industry. Stay up to date with what's going on. Read everything you can. This is part of why you're doing these Q&As, and we'll be doing interviews. You need to know the business. You've got to know not just the business of animation and filmmaking, but general business savvy. What is a business plan? What is a marketing plan? How do LLCs work? All of these things come into play on the business side of show development. Does this show have a shot of breaking even? And better than that, does it have good odds of breaking even and making money? And of course, some of those kind of general life skills. Are you someone who will work hard, and can you delegate? Because you working hard is not enough. You need to be able to work with others, collaborate with them, and let people take charge of their stuff. And I am always an advocate of being a lifelong learner and an adventurer. This doesn't mean you have to go rock climb on the side of a mountain, but I mean do things that are interesting to you. Find things that continue to feed your creativity. These are just a starting point of some of the skills. Now, what do you do if you're like, oh wow, I've got like 2 of those things? Well, one, you do need to consider your motivations. Yes, for this class, you need to learn some of these things so that you have the general business, big picture stuff, even if you're never going to create a show in the real world. But you can develop these skills. You can keep moving forward. Creating an independent film, especially as a student, is a great way to do that. Really, a lot of the things that apply for animation apply for a film. You may not need quite as much on, like animation, like character rigging, but you need to know how people move. And today, more and more, the film world integrates with animation and graphic arts. So you'll be doing all of these things. One of the best ways to learn this stuff is on short films. So you build up these skills one at a time, work through the projects in this class to excellence, work with others who have the skills and work together both to hone your own skills and to compensate for each other's weaknesses. Practice, 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 especially with short films, be them animated or larger, live action films. There are a lot of those going on in the department. So get on them. Get on as many films as you can that won't overload you to the point where you can't function and do what you do to excellence. Don't burn yourself out, but get the practice. Get in on whatever films you can, animated or live action. And I would encourage CTV students to help on an animation and animation students to help on a CTV live action. It will increase your skill set tremendously. All right, so moving forward with what's going on, I know we're kind of getting in the flow with videos and PowerPoints and assignments. So hopefully you guys will have watched this video. You will have, because you're going to stay on track before Monday when we would have had class. So you're going to be reading all the Q&A articles. I think there are 6 of them. Write an 8-paragraph reaction paper based on those. So same rules apply as for your last paper as far as MLA, and if you're citing something, cite it properly. This is due before the start of class because we're going to be moving on to the next topic with the start of class. So really you can write a paragraph on each article and then 2 paragraphs on your overall impressions. That's a great way to structure this. So I look forward to seeing you guys in class, and keep on growing, keep on learning.